Okay, this is a video on color, and we're going to be using the Borosilicate powders, a couple of new ones that have come out, and we're going to look at layering. Now, this tape or this video is not an Instagram short. It's going to be a little bit longer. You're going to have to watch it on YouTube, but we're using the new Borosilicate. Borosilicate basically is glass. It's the same type of glass that's used to make this high temp flask right here. Same type of stuff, high impact glass, and these are a little bit bigger crystals. Now that we just looked at is this green. We're going to be using this green Borosilicate, and we're going to layer it up a little bit. Part of any bait making is you're a little bit of an artist, and you're going to use color and you're going to lay them on top of each other. Just like with food, don't overthink it. Don't put so many ingredients in there you can't taste the food. Same thing, don't put so many ingredients in there that you make a muddy mess. So here's a little tiny spoonful of our green powder. This is 1/2 cup of saltwater hard plastic. I do a lot of deep water grub work, and so this is my plastic that I'm used to using and that I physically have in stock. So here we go. We've got our base. We've got a good green going here. And in this green, the next layer I'm going to add to this, and maybe, we'll come back and maybe add some more green in a minute, but we're going to layer it up first. I'm going to add a few drops of a gold dragon's blood. Right here, you see me shaking it up here. We're going to add a couple of drops of that. Now, we want the gold to be the highlight. We don't want the gold to be an emphasis. We are not adding any color. This is a highlight item that we're using to build on. So I've got my green there, and I've got a little bit of gold highlight that sits in the background. It's not designed. I don't want that gold jumping out and things on top of it. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more gold. And we're going to layer this up. The next item we're going to add is we're going to add some black. Now, not black color. We're going to use some black flake in this. And before we get quite there, let's give it just a little tiny bit more green in here, just so that we're going to oversaturate this just a little bit, because we want it to be easy for you to see. Now, I love using random flake. Now, I'm not going to put this in, but I want you to look at this. So this is random cut flake. This flake, if I were making a crappie bait, would be too big. Holographic black random cut flake. Now, I could put a little tiny bit of that in, and I'll do that, but we're going to go down one size, and we're going to go to the small holographic. That was medium, and we actually make one that's bigger than that. So here's a small random cut holographic black flake, and we'll put a little bit of that into our mix here. Now, each time as we get done, I'll pull this aside, and we'll play with multiple colors. I'm going to pull this aside, and I'll pour it into a puck, and we're going to come back later on as we finish some of this and look at all the pucks. So this is a green gold that we've got here. Now, to put this into a puck, I just physically pour it into a muffin top tray. And I love using these pucks because it gives me the ability to evaluate and look at my colors. And also, too, I can come back and I easily just throw these in the cup, reheat them, they remelt, and now I can make my baits or whatever. But they're easy to see, easy to use. I do this with colors too. I'll pour pucks of fluorescent or neon colors, and I'll use the pucks as my colorant, so I'm not mixing powders and things in my plastic, getting air and stuff in. I just melt a piece of puck and I'm done. Okay, we're going to pause for a minute, pull this out of the way, bring our next cup. Okay, we're back. We've got our next cup of hot plasol, again, 1/2 cup. We've got a 1/2 cup of hot plasol, and this time we're going to use a purple borosilicate. Again, it's a glass, and we'll start with that. We'll take our little spoonful of stuff there. That's ever so slight, not much there at all. And we're going to treat this one just a little bit different this time. Rather than just dumping in another color in black flake, we'll use another color, but we're going to bump it first with a little bit of silica flake. And that silica flake that we're going to use will kind of be this goldish purple one right here. So we're going to take a little bit of that. You can see what I've got there, a little tiny spoonful of that. We're going to put that in there. And you can see the flake really is lightweight, wants to float all over, of course. Now, this is delicate flake, so you don't want to overstir it. You can break it up. So it's nice and big and chunky right now. If we overstir this, we're going to break it up. Then, for this look that we're after here, I'm going to, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera there. We're going to add a little bit of blue highlight, and we're going to give it a little bit of blue kick on this one. You can see that blue come in there, gives us a wonderful highlight. If you were making the belly of a rainbow trout or something, it's just exactly what you want. You want that rosy red, purplish pink color and that blue look. And now I will come back and I will throw just a tiny bit of that random black in there. Don't want a lot. I don't want it to kill the look of our holographic flake. You'll be able to see the holographic flake. And now one last thing I want to do with this, we're going to bump that with some holographic red. Here we go. We're going to put a little bit of holographic red flake in there, and it's going to give us another dimension in there with that plastic. And you'll see that in the puck when we use it. Again, don't overstir. We don't want to break that holographic stuff up. Now, even though those flakes are big, the fact they're silica, that means they're soft, which means they'll go into a mold, they'll go down in the mold into the cavities if it's a little crappie tail or whatever, where the random cut holographic black is stiff and won't do that. Okay, let's pour this into our pucks here. And this is our purple. It looks like we got enough for one more puck there. So, okay, it's in our pucks. We're going to let this cool for a minute. I'm going to stop. We'll be back, and we'll reheat with another cup of plastic. Okay, plastic's here. Here we go. These, again, we're using, one second. Okay, plastic's here, and we're using a saltwater blend. So this is a very hard plastic. I'm almost 400 degrees. That because the plastic gets stiff real fast, we bring it up to a way hot temperature to work with it. But you'll be able to see, of course, that all the stuff that we're using will take that heat. Let's get the blue in here. This is our glass beads, glass crystals, borosilicate. And we're going to take this one a totally different direction this time. We're going to give it some pretty bold kicks. So our blue's in there, right there. And we're going to back that blue up with a little bit of highlight drops here. This is a silver purple. So in the purple, we went blue. In the blue, we're going back purple, but we're going to follow a little bit of silver tones here. You know, it's not quite as abrupt. It's a little bit subtle. You can see that purple in there with the blue. Next, we're going to really bump this with a bright flake. This flake is a bright red flake. It's going to give us a great color bump in here. We'll put a little bit of that in there. And it's got kind of a reddish blue tint, and we'll mix that in there. Now, none of what we're doing, and I brought this up when I started this, we're not adding colorants. Nothing wrong with adding colorants. We can use colorant anytime, but colorants tend to mute all of the flakes and the colors. Okay, our random cut black, and this time we're adding to that a random cut silver. So we're picking up this random cut silver in there with the black, with that red flake, and our blue and purple highlight liquid there. And that's the look we're going to get. And we'll go ahead and pour this into a puck real quick, and we'll be back for the last one. Then we're going to look at all the pucks and compare them to standard stuff. So here's our puck tray. We'll get that poured in there real quick. Looks like we got enough for 4 pucks. Okay, Plastisol's hot, and we're going to look at the final borosilicate or glass crystals. Here, let's make sure everything's mixed up off the bottom. I have the luxury, I guess you'd call it, of being able to test lots of different items and offering samples and opinions. Some of them go to market, some of them don't, some of them aren't worth having, but it's fun to do a lot of the testing. Okay, this is our gold green. We'll put some of that in there, and we're going to add a lot of features to this one. Again, each one of these getting just a little bit more complex. No color added because I don't want to mute any of the reflective properties of the crystals and things. Everything that we put in here is not clouding the water. I'm going to go back to my gold highlight we used the very first on the first one, and I'm going to add just a little bit because I need, or I want, that gold kick, and you're going to see a kind of a surprise come up here in a minute. So there's the gold kick that we want in it. We still have got the green, highlight, and this time we're going to add some silica flake, and it's going to follow that same line down there. And we're going to add a little silica flake here, and it's got a green tint or cast to it. You can see that green look in that silica flake. Now, it's not a bright green like a lime green. It's kind of a subtle green, and it's got some other overtones in it. Not an abrupt, because what we're going to do is we're going to add some gold leaf to this one. And this is going to change everything you see. Always my personal preference, I add that little bit of black random in there. Maybe it's a habit I have, maybe it's a vice I have, maybe I'm just habitually hooked on my black random. But there's our kind of goldish green look that we're playing with. Look at that on that knife, that's gorgeous. Now, get ready for gold leaf. This is not something you're used to seeing. This is a leaf, not a standard glitter. We're going to throw that in there. It's going to act like the silica powders or flakes. It's going to give us a totally different dimension than you've ever seen. Just totally different. We'll get this poured in the pucks. We'll be back and review all 8 of these pucks. The 4 we did earlier without any additives, just the color of the borosilicate, and the 4 with all the additives. So here's our puck tray. Let's get those poured in there. You can see all that leaf and things in there. Okay, for the last few minutes we've been doing demonstrations. Let's now talk details. Okay, and I'll get into it a little bit in depth. Let's look at our purple. We've got 2 pieces of purple here. Here's our first one that we did. This purple physically is nothing more than the borosilicate and a little bit of random flake. And it's not bad. It's a great look. Okay, here it is by adding some silica flake, a little bit of blue highlight of dragon's blood. Now, dragon's blood highlight is basically just like any other liquid colorant, except it's a suspended crystal. It's not a dye or something that clouds the water. So you can see it's just as clear still in our plastic. So nothing except the borosilicate purple, and this one, a little bit of highlight added, gives it a whole different dimension between the two. And we didn't break the bank. Tiny little drop of this or that. We also added that silica flake, that holographic flake. You could have added it or you could have left it out. It wouldn't have mattered. Basically, your black random cut black dots here, those are cheap and inexpensive. Your borosilicate is a little bit more. Your silica flake is the most expensive item in here, and your blue highlight is pretty low price as well. And I'll go into it all in another video on price points and how you get it and where you get it, but some good looking stuff there between those two. Okay, let's jump from there over to our blue, over to our green. There, where did we put it? Okay, it's underneath the lid here. Okay, so here's our greens. Here is our standard green, just flake only, and I overdid the black flake just a little bit there. And here's our green with the other additive and stuff in it, where we put a little bit of gold into it. So you can see the two, not much difference there. These two were simple. We kept these pretty simple. This was the first one we did, so we didn't add anything else to it. The purple was actually the second one we did, where we added some more items and things to it. So there's those two. I could take or leave either one. I like the extra flake in it in the first one. I like the little bit of gold shimmer we get in here, but both of them work for me. I'm cool with both of those. Okay, let's go to our blue, which was next. This is our standard blue right here. So this is blue with nothing else in it, and here is our blue with all the other stuff we put into it. So we'd used very little random black in this one, if you remember right, just a tiny touch, but we used the random cut silver, and you can see that silver all over in there. We also put in a drop of silver purple dragon's blood highlight, and then we used that reddish color silica flake. So this one's got a lot going on in it, a lot of character. This one over here is just our blue and our random cut. This has got some cool stuff in it, but not bad. Again, everything that we've done here are in the easy to do category. This is a layering process. We've put no colorant in here because I didn't want to cloud that plastisol. I wanted that clear look, whether it's for bellies, the top of the bait, the sides of the bait, but that gives us some really, really good depth and really good colors there. So there's our blue and things, blue borosilicate, random flake, and then the three items, the random silver, a little bit of random black, the silica flake, highlight drops, and the borosilicate are all in that one in our blues. Okay, here is the last one we poured. Here is our greenish gold all by itself. You can see that there. Good looking color just on its own. Our random cut flake in there. And here is adding all the other stuff. So we ended up with a dramatically different color. So the gold highlight created a lot of the gold pigment that you're seeing in there. We then added the black flake, and then we added the gold leaf, and you can see in there that gold leaf floating. This is not gold glitter. It's a gold leaf. It's totally has a total different look and total different way that it acts. It's a random cut as well. You can see it's all different sizes in there. It's a fraction of the cost of silica. It is not a silica-based product. It is a plastic product, but it will take the heat, and it gives us a dramatically different look and feel. The color of the plastisol being gold, that was from the gold highlight that we put in. The gold dragon's blood that we put in there colored that plastic to that gold color because of the gold red in that highlight. But the gold flake is floating around in there, the gold green that we started with in the borosilicate. It's a great look, a great effect. It would be an awesome crappie bait on its own, or the belly for a pour, but all of those have a great amount of color and depth to them that you could use in a number of different ways. So this gives you a good look and a good feel for the 4 new borosilicates and some of the things that we can do with those with different highlights and a little bit different use of our flake and our different highlight drops that we can add to it and with it. So that's kind of the look of the landscape there. I hope this has been useful to you and helpful. I'm not one that's going to sit and edit this down a lot, so what you see is what you get. Hope you watch to the end. Next video that I'll be putting out, we're going to go over the same thing again, not how it's made, but the powders, what powder goes in, what's the cost, what's the true cost to make things like this from a wholesale standpoint, from an off the street standpoint. So look for that. I should have that up in the next few days.